Welcome back to Hero Goldberg. Today I'll be talking about my view of South Asian women. This has been requested by a couple of folks, I guess because they see how bad the dating market is and they figure you might get a slightly more traditional woman if you go the South Asian route. Pay attention, I'm saying South Asian, not Indian, because if we say Indian subcontinent, it's a huge morass of different cultures, castes, ethnic groups, linguistic groups, political affiliations, and no, they're not all at peace like the leftists tell you. You had in Sri Lanka the Tamils, tigers versus the government. You have in the state of Assam where they were trying to slaughter the newcomers. You have Christians versus Hindus, Hindus versus Muslims, and all in between. So I think South Asian is a better catch-all term, and it is a growing population in most Western countries. I should note, and maybe a bit of a joke, that I almost feel that South Asian girls are becoming what East Asian girls were 15 to 20 years ago, like the safe alternative. Uh, because a lot of East Asian women now, their SMV is equivalent or superior to even Caucasian chicks. So do with that what you will. As far as a decent way you could refer to them, you have Desi. I know for Middle Eastern chicks, some guys will say Hojabi. Maybe we could say here Hosari or Hobajis. Let's say Hobajis because they're delicious, so it's not a derogatory term in any shape or form. But you're going to find there's a couple of general character types in the West you'll come across. These are not all inclusive, but typically you'll find them to be in one of these categories. So let's just delve in. So the first group you're liable to come across in the Western world are those who are actually genuinely off the boat, old world type chicks, who are mostly going to be inaccessible unless you're in the same caste, religion, ethnic group, that sort of thing. But it is a good option if you happen to be South Asian, Hindu, or Muslim, and you have lower SMV in the West. It is still a possibility insofar as you wanting to find a partner. Um, I'm not sure why it's still practiced even by upper class South Asians in the West, but I suspect it has something to do with maintaining resources or just traditions. You know, there's that really cringe mockumentary, Meet the Patels, where he's trying to resist his parents, but ultimately he marries an Indian chick, so go figure. May not be the worst system, though, because you have a less dysfunctional society, at least on paper. But as to the question of how well those are going to function, there's a couple of books that have been written by women saying it's superior to the Western model. Just follow your heart and be in love. The one problem, if you're in the West and you're under the auspices of the legal system there, could she still take you for all you have down the road if she gets a sniff of Western culture and wants to be independent? Because that would be sad if she's in her regalia in her carriage going through Mumbai. She sees you on the side of the road, and in her mind, she's going, I heard you got your tramp stamp removed. Saw you downtown, simping for food. That would be brutal, to be perfectly honest with you. The second type you might come across is a supremely westernized, raised in America or UK type of chick, and they will marry seemingly opposite dynamics. So, on the one hand, they'll be daddy's little princess, which means you're going to have to do high maintenance, but that's most girls in a relationship, to be honest, not exclusive to them. At the same time, cartoony, amped up, over the top feminism. They will take what you see from a white or black feminist and just times 100. So, with that being noted, if you're Hispanic, white, Tyrone in high school or college, you'll have access. But just understand, as far as LTRs of marriage, bad idea. Now, the big black pill, we know women will be submissive and feminine for guys they find attractive, and then there'll be a feminist overlord for those who they consider to be average or subpar. So you can venture if you want, but if you sign a contract, doesn't matter if you're Chad, Tyrone, you sign a contract, she's going to be in charge of your life. So just be aware of that. Their behavior will change once they have you locked down legally. As with most women, it's not unique, it's not their fault, it's just biology. It's evolutionary strategy, if you will. The third category that you may come across will be those girls who maybe were raised in the old world and then came over in teens or for college, that sort of thing. They will make the better girlfriends, although there's going to be a trade off because they'll be open to dating out. But when it comes to anything long term, their culture will come to the forefront, whether Muslim or Hindu. I have never dated a Christian South Asian girl, so I don't know if it's a little bit different there. Just understand that will become more of a question. And so you're going to have to contend with it. Do you want to be subsumed by the culture? Because the culture is very strong, it is very enduring, and they don't like to let it go. With that being said, just a general PSA for women, because this is a big problem in South Asia, and that is self-loathing in regard to complexion and skin tone. All right, stop trying to use filters or makeup to make yourself look lighter tone. All right, you got to own it. If you happen to be darker skin can be attractive. Do not mislead. I was on a date last year with this wannabe trad Latina, and all her pictures, it was like this shiny golden skin. Yet in person, she's much darker. I don't know if she had just gone to the beach, although she didn't make that uh, inform me. And on top of that, she had angry eyebrows. Look, do not cover it up. Just be proud. If a dude doesn't want to be with you because you have darker skin, then just you probably don't want to be with him. Let's be honest. It's not very healthy. But do take care of your eyebrows. All girls should be doing that because a lot of them have those furry Mandy Patinkin eyebrows. Just stay away from it. Go get it done or do it yourself because it really enhances your appearance. It was actually last year in the office. There was this chick I talked to a bit, but she was one of those very uptight at work, so you have to interact with them outside if you want them to open up. I think she was of Sri Lankan descent, but darker tone, albeit pretty face, nice ion cannons, round onion booty. So it almost makes me want to explore because I'm going to Geomax in Eastern Europe and then Latin America this year. Next year, I was thinking of going to Ghana, possibly Ethiopia as well, if the conflict calms down there. And I was going to do the second trip in Southeast Asia, but maybe I'll do South Asia like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, or Nepal, just because it's a very fascinating part of the world. As far as India, one thing with Indians, they tend to have this weird combination of a chip on the shoulder, but also extreme insecurity. And I suspect it's because, in fairness to them, if you had your region of the world subjugated by a handful of sexually repressed limeys with fat wives, that's pretty bad. So I don't actually hate on them for that at all. I think the British should have divided India up into like 10 or 15 different countries before leaving because you have like some states that are majority or close to majority Christian, others that have a lot of Muslim population. Then Goa didn't want to be part of India and they were just invaded. Go figure. So yeah, South Asian girls are nice. Certainly a cut above some Western women. Just understand if you stay with them long enough, you get with a Priyanka, you get with a Pooja, the culture is going to be dominant. It's robust. Very few, unless they truly hate where they've come from, are going to abandon it. So you're going to have to be okay with being a big part of it, or at least tolerating observance of many of those values, festivals, traditions, and customs.